Hello, this is Sheshachalam from AstroGuide Mysore. Today, let us understand a basic point on the subject of uh, astronomical relevance as to why planets are considered in horoscopy and what is the role of these planets in horoscopy. So, very important point because without knowing that, people feel that they don't, why should they believe astrology or else? And you know that actually starts shaking the root of astrology if you don't know this particular point. And if you know this point, then you will have the basis of going ahead and understanding astrology even better. First, the definition of a planet in English. In the English language, it is different. It is more of a mass attracting another mass with the gravitational pull, and if at all it has a layer of atmosphere, only then it is considered to be a planet. It's a scientific relevance with regard to a very different level. In Sanskrit, this is called as graha. Graha means the one which has the strength to pull things towards itself, the one which has the grahana shakti, that becomes a planet. And that is why the sensitive points of the intersection of the orbit of moon to that of the orbit of sun around earth, which these points are known as the Rahu and the Ketu. The node which is ascending is called as the Rahu, and the descending node is called as the Ketu. Even these points have a lot of magnetic flux there, the lot of property there, which actually has a huge strength to pull things towards itself. And that is why, and this also moves in a couple, no, 180 degrees exact opposite. So this particular thing one should understand that uh, whenever the whichever point of reference has more gravitational pull towards it is known as a graha. And that is why even moon, as per the English definition or the scientific definition, it is a satellite. For us it is a graha because it has the strength to pull. If you go through the scientific reference itself, you can see that on a full moon day, the tides of the ocean is much higher compared to a normal day. So, even on an Amavasya, because both moon and sun are both aligned, both are aligned in one particular angle. So, the pull of they can pull the water to a particular height. So, that means these grahas, we call them planets now because we can't call them once again graha because people don't get the real understanding of it. So we call all these planets because all of these celestial bodies, the sun, moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, Rahu and Ketu, all have the capacity to pull things towards themselves. So this pulling capacity towards themselves is called the grahana shakti or the gravity, the grava, gravity. All this came from that Sanskrit word graha, grahana. So this particular strength qualifies them to be a planet in the horoscopy. Simple. Let's keep it at that point. And now, what actually they are doing? If I keep as a geocentric, if I think geocentric, that is, Earth is the center of the universe. Let me take that. You can take any point in the universe and tell that it's the center, and it is true because every point in the universe has infinite boundaries. 360 degrees away from it. So even Earth, if I keep Earth as a center of the universe, yes, it's correct. So I don't think many people can differ from this particular thing. Even the scientific authorities tell that universe is ever expanding and expanding on all directions, all the eight cardinal directions, north, east, south, west, up, down, everywhere. What we call as Urdhva, Adhara, Ishanya, Nairitya, Agneya, Kubera, all directions. It keeps expanding and it is expanding at a same rate. So let us not go till the universe. Let us take the solar system now. Keeping this Earth as a geocentric object, we can see that many things are moving around. Actually, they are moving around the sun, but they are moving in a very oblique, different patterns because Earth is not in the center of the solar system. So, because we are living on Earth, we take this as a stationary object so that we can make some angular calculations with regard to the placement of the planets. Okay. So the planets are nothing but the grahas which actually pull the rays towards themselves. So what is actually happening? We are more concerned with regard to the band, the zodiac band, which is around 18 degrees in width, 9 degrees on in the southern hemisphere and 9 degrees in the northern hemisphere uh, from the ecliptic. So it is an 18 degree belt which is spanning in it rises in the east and sets in the west, and it's like this. So in that particular belt, what all the nakshatras are there have more effect on the solar system because their rays are coming straight through the planets and hitting Earth. We are not much concerned about those cosmic rays which do not have any obstruction at all, because the other cosmic rays will simply come and hit Earth without any disturbance. So the disturbance is caused because of the planets which are there in the solar system, and these planets have an upper limit and a lower limit of 9 degrees from the ecliptic. That is, the ecliptic means Grahanapata, or the orbit of sun around Earth. So if I take this as an ecliptic, you have a bandwidth of around 18 degrees, either side 9 degrees. So within that only all the planets are roaming around. So the cosmic rays coming from those nakshatras which are there around us, which is known as the zodiac or the bhachakra, these rays coming from those nakshatras get sucked up. They bend and get sucked up by those huge planets which are there as obstruction. The planets will start taking the energy. They have been taking energy from millions of years, so they take up the energy, and after a period of time they cannot keep the energy. So that has already happened. So they cannot keep the energy as per the law of conservation of energy. They cannot keep the energy, and they'll start spilling the energy, and they'll spill the energy as per their spin and movement. So let me give you an example on this particular thing. Um, you know the top which spins, right? When we were children, we were playing tops, spinning tops. So you make a top wet, or put a small cloth on the top and make it wet. Spin the top, and the faster the top spins, the water gets spilled over. In a centrifugal force, it gets spilled over. The slower the top spins, somewhere else it will spill. So it depends on the spin of the top, that where the water gets spilled over. The same way, the energy which is being thrown out by the planet is or guided by the planet also depends on the spin of the planet, the orbit of the planet, the distance and the angle from Earth where it is. So how it actually throws that energy, and where the energy goes, whether it falls on Earth. So we are more concerned on the energy which is being thrown towards Earth, and what sort of an energy is going to come towards us, we don't know. So that particular thing was been a huge enigmatic thing, very dark thing to understand. So our earlier sages have done a lot of meditation. We call them drishtakara, that is one who can see. So in English we call these people as seers. So they saw uh, you know beyond a particular level and understood that some planets can throw the rays in some places which are benefic, and some planets can throw their rays in certain places which are malefic. So this is known as the aspect. So these aspects of planets are taken because of their obstruction of the cosmic energy. That's it. There is nothing else that happens. The huge obstructor of the energy which is flowing from nakshatras is the sun, because it takes 1 degree of the 360 degrees. It takes one full degree. So It's a huge thing. When we can keep hundreds of Earth over its diameter, you can understand how big it is. So the sun, moon, and many other planets have been considered, but many other celestial bodies like the Uranus, Neptune, and the Pluto have not been considered because the movement from one Rashi to another Rashi has to be considerably, um, which can be seen, observed, and understood. But here, what happens is Uranus and Neptune go very slow to such an extent that we cannot see day to day activities or events rolling because of that. It's a huge topic of reference where Uranus and Neptune are usually considered for mundane astrology. In some cases, even in Vedic astrology, we do not consider Uranus and Pluto at all. So we consider only planets till Saturn. That is, other than Earth, the outer planets are the Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Inner planets are the Sun, Moon, Mercury, and Venus. So these are the four here and the three there, the seven and plus the Rahu and Ketu. So this is what has been considered for calculation. So in this, the retrogression happens when the planet comes, from in between Sun and Earth. In between Sun and Earth, when the planet comes, then the retrogression happens because the planet starts moving, in a way where we feel that the planet is going backwards. See, this is also once again a question of scientific belief, because retrogression does not happen on the planet. The planet is moving in the forward direction in the same speed, but because of the relative speed of Earth with regard to the background of this sidereal wheel, that is the zodiac, we feel that a planet is going backwards or forwards. So, because of this, the spin and the aspects also change, and that is why a retrograde planet, which is usually very close to Earth, when compared to the normal planets which are away from Earth, retrograde planets gain one bala called as the Chestha bala. So, with all this, the uh, planets also have a lot of bearing on the human body. So now once again people will ask, how come planets will have any bearing on human body? I don't know from where this humbug story is being told. Okay, let us go into another experiment. The tuning fork experiment. It's a beautiful experiment which we have all done in our college times. And if you go a little further, you will understand that if there is a vibration, coming towards the tuning fork vibrates and gives out sound. And if there is a vibration from the tuning fork, it gives out sound in a particular direction, in all the directions, in a particular angle in the plane. So that means a particular vibration of a particular metal or an element, however far away it is coming from, when it touches that particular element, that element will vibrate. It will respond more actively rather than any other elements. Like for example, if I have this example has been proved scientifically. Let us put some wood plates, hanging, and then we'll have some metallic plates hanging in between. So if a metal plate which is of the same metal is, it has been hard, beaten hard, that's the striking of that particular gong of that particular metal will give out that particular sound of the metal. And when it passes through the hanging plates, the metal plates will vibrate as good as they are being stroked, but the wooden plates will never vibrate. So that means there is more sensitivity to that particular vibration, to that particular metal. You can do it, the example can be repeated with other metals and also along with this metal. So a particular vibration can gets related to that particular metal, and this has been proved through the science nowadays. It has been proved. So that means every element has a particular type of a vibration, and that vibration, when it touches the element starts to vibrate. We are all made of stardust. If anybody has any objection on this, I don't know how he can prove it. Because the earth is made of stardust, the solar system is made of stardust, and we are coming out of earth. We have eaten everything and grown here on earth. So we have accumulated nothing but earth. Our body might be looking different, but it is nothing but pure, 100% pure earth. It has a chetana. Chetana means the soul, which has made us animate and lively. Other than that, we are as good as the stardust. So, whatever vibration comes from the celestial sphere, the cosmic vibration keeps coming and hitting us. If that vibration is of the material what I own in my body starts to vibrate. So if I dampen myself by, putting all those wooden plates in between the steel or the metal plates, what I had done in my earlier experiment with what I told you, the wooden plates would dampen it. So if I eat food which is not good for me and start accumulating the material which is not good for me, it will start dampening the effect of me gaining the good vibration from the cosmic energy. I will not be subtle. I will not be pure enough to grasp that subtle energy of the cosmic waves. So the problem is here that one doesn't know what we should eat. Then should we stop eating at all and then starve? No. Then we should eat the organism which has not evolved to a higher level at all. That means, let us say, seeds what we eat in the rice, the wheat, the paddy or whatever, these seeds do not have the chakras, not much chakras. There is only one chakra, that is the soul, but they do not have the spinal cord and the chakras developed in it. So the more the developed the animal or the more the developed the organism, the more the chakras and more the emotions and more the feeling is there in that organism, and more the dangerous the food is for the human being, because it is now losing the strength of being sattvic. So the organism has to be sattvic. So we go to the lowest of the organisms. The lowest of the organisms are the leaves, the bark, the leaves, the vegetables, less the seeds, more the better. So it is like you eat, see, the most best sattvic food in the world the God has made is those food in which you do not have to even disperse the seed. You do not have to even disperse the seed. So that means, like for example, the bananas. So you do not have to disperse the seed of the banana when you are eating the banana. You can simply eat the banana and throw the skin. But if let us say you are eating a coconut is fully bruna. Bruna means it is like an egg. It is like a seed. So you break the coconut means you have killed. You have killed. So that is the next level. So the third level is eating a lot number of seeds. What we in normal Hindu families or vegetarian families, we eat the rice or the wheat or we eat ragi, the millets. So when we are eating this, we know that we are eating a lot of seeds which were actually aspiring to grow as saplings, and they did not aspire to go into your stomach. So that means भ्रूणहत्यां वा एते घ्नन्ति ते ब्राह्मणास्त्रिसुपर्णं पठन्ति ते somam prapnuvanti. So that means we are asking God that Bruna Hatya, please wipe off all my sins when I'm eating these seeds, because I know I have to eat it because it's my mistake. I can't live without eating it. So we cannot live only on, the Himalayas, people, the mystics of the Himalayas, the masters who are there, and many were there earlier also, and still today also they are there. They were eating only the leaves. of the pine trees. The pine tree leaves have a lot of nutrition, lot of so nowadays people who do cinematography on this wild trekking, living in the wild, surviving in the wild, survival of the fittest, what XYZ they do, they all have very clearly told how good pine trees are. So how good the leaves of the deodar, the leaves of the pine trees are as food. So that please go through it in detail before you simply put it in your mouth and start munching it. So I'm just giving you a caution because you don't get used to it so fast. So it's having a lot of toxics, and toxics which are to be eliminated through meditation and through yoga. But that is the food which they call the most sattvic. Why? Because you do not have to kill the tree. There is no life dying because of that, and still you survive in that cold weather of the Himalayas, and but still you have the strength to sit and meditate because they are not doing any physical work. They need very less amount of food. Apart from that, if we start eating things which are grown up, which have grown up, like which all have all the chakras, like the seven chakras are there in vertebrates, like the goat, the sheep, the cow, the buffalo. That is why we don't want to eat that. That is why the Hindus, the Brahmins, or the vegans are fighting for, telling that this is not the food a human being should eat. Why? It is not to save those animals, save yourself first. Why unnecessarily eat this and make your body, filled with so much of toxic and negative energy which has come out from that particular animal? So now the next question is that how does the negativity get transferred to the human being from the animal? This is another question, beautiful question. Okay, let us come to a point of genetics now. There have been many, GMOs done, that is genetically modified organisms, and we know that the soybean itself is, man-made. It was not there earlier. So like that, there have been many alterations and new findings, new types of vegetables which have come to the market, which were not available, let us say 30 years ago, 50 years ago, I even 60 years ago when the gene revolution started. So the gene mutation, what they have done, for example, the tomatoes, you can see that the new type of tomatoes, which are called as the jam tomatoes, or you called as the cherry tomatoes, which have been genetically modified. Not all the cherry tomatoes, because there are many wild cherry tomato varieties which have modified themselves. The mutation is natural. It has taken millions of years to mutate. But here, this mutation took only 40 years or 30 years when the human being intervened with it. So he has put one gene of an animal inside, injected inside the plant. So what it actually does is, in a normal variety, when a tomato is plucked, from the plant, immediately when it is being torn away, let it be the fastest way you tear it away, but still there would be a pulse, an electric pulse which would have gone to the tomato, and it would very clearly would have instructed every part of the mitochondria in the tomato, telling that you are not a part of me now. Now it is time for you to disperse your seeds. Now that you have been plucked off, you become ripe, rot. You have to rot, and you have to disperse those seeds so that those seeds will grow up and become new tomato plants. So that's a normal thing to do. That is how, when a tomato is plucked, that's what happens. When any fruit falls from the tree knows that the fruit has fallen. The fruit also knows that it is now not with the tree. So that is the level of evolution which has happened in plants, in many other beings also, not only plants. Plants are actually a very primitive kind of living organism. So this particular thing has to be cut off, because the shelf life of the tomato decreases in the original tomatoes, because that the original tomatoes tend to rot faster, but the genetically modified tomatoes, which actually is used for the jam and it is more having pulp, it's more pulpy, they do not rot faster. They stay for 10 days even in a normal shelf. So how come they achieved this is that they have put another gene of an animal which has gone into the tomato plant, and when the tomato is being plucked, the signal which goes from the plant to the fruit is cut off. So that means the fruit doesn't know it has been plucked. The plant knows that the fruit was plucked, but the before the plant even instructed the fruit that now you have to rot and disperse your seeds, this particular instruction did not get passed to the fruit. So that means the fruit still thinks that it is with the plant. So the shelf life has increased. So for marketing factors, for commercial factors, human being has done this. So how dangerous it is for us. The same way, when an animal is slaughtered, the brain will pass immediately a message to the body telling that you are dying. So there will be a sudden reaction. The adrenaline or the other hormones will suddenly hype. They will release all the toxic hormones, the hormones which are to defend the body from getting into such a situation, panic situation. So now that the animal has been slaughtered, the whole body is having the toxic energy inside, and that toxic energy cannot be washed because it is in the mitochondria. It is inside the mitochondria, and that is where it has happened in every cell, and that you eat. And that when we eat will go into our body and we digest the food what we have eaten, and that gets dispersed into our body and gets stored. And the energy, what do you get from food? Energy. It's chemical energy. So you have taken that negative energy also along with the food, and that is why it starts building up into your body. So people might ask, earlier days, people, the cave dwellers were hunting. They had not evolved. Now that you have evolved, now you are no more a cave dweller. You are no more hunting and gathering or doing anything. You are in a big society where food is available. The primitive food is available. So you eat that food. I am not telling you not to eat non-veg, but if you eat non-veg, you are going to get this negativity inside the body, and that is why the sentence is, what we eat is what we are. So this accumulates in our body and dampens our reception to the cosmic waves. This is the point why we should not eat non-veg. If nobody wants to get those cosmic waves or get into any elevation, please keep eating non-veg, do whatever you want. But you can drink, you can eat, you can do whatever you want, sleep whenever you want. So, only for people who want to elevate themselves to come to a level where they feel the connect between themselves and the cosmic energy, for them, being sattvic would be the best. Leafy vegetables, fruits, normal vegetables, uh, to a higher extent, then come into the cereals and the pulses. I think that's more than enough. You do not have to drink milk, curd, cheese, butter, all these things which are actually once again products of animals. So, from this, with this, I would close today's conversation, today's discussion, because it has become a very lengthy discussion. But still, I have given you a basic idea as to why planets, what is the cosmic energy, how the planets become important, what is a graha, and what actually happens in the spin, how it actually gives you the aspects. And after that, then again, we have gone into the cosmic energy flowing into us, whether we can harness that cosmic energy and become something, whether we can have a good life, whether we can achieve moksha, whether our this particular life can be peaceful and our last days are happy. We do not have to be on the bed, bedridden for a long period of time and suffering. My Guruji would keep on telling me this, that you have to live your whole life for the last 15 days. Such a beautiful sentence. I remember every day this particular thing, and I remember my Guruji, because the whole life a person has to prepare for what? To get into the next life in a peaceful way. So you do everything, that's fine. You enjoy life, you enjoy creation, you enjoy, you sing, dance, you relish this particular life. Fantastic. That is how you have to live life. You have to live life elated, in the best of the spirits. And then when you die, you have to die a peaceful life. Who does not want a peaceful and happy transformation from this Janma to another Janma? If anybody wants it, then follow these rules, be sattvic. So thank you very much for today's class.